Hey, Who Dat Nation, and happy Thanksgiving. Brendan Boylan here with my buddy Bob Rose. Bob, I know that I'm already stuffed. I'm full of turkey, and we just had dinner a few minutes ago. I know you just said you just got home from your dinner. Are you feeling good?
I am. I am. I'm uncomfortably numb. You reach that level of full. Where it feels like the food's like right there. It was a wonderful day with family. Wonderful food, wonderful desserts. Tis the season. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Happy Thanksgiving to all you who that's tuning in tonight. I hope you and your families had a wonderful day too.
Yeah, I see Jerry, Robert, both you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. We got some football to talk about, Bob. And while we've been feeling good, the New Orleans Saints have not. Just more and more injuries piling up for this team. No Alvin Kamara tonight, third straight week. No Mark Ingram tonight. So we're expecting a heavy dose of Tony Jones Jr. However, what lots of people assumed earlier in the day when the Ingram news kind of came out that he wasn't expected to play was, well, a lot of us expected a lot of Taysom Hill. Well, Ian Book's inactive for New Orleans today, which leaves Taysom as the emergency quarterback, very similar to last week. So, Bob, how are the Saints going to move the ball today?
A wing and a prayer, to borrow the old Bon Jovi song. Listen, players like Deontay Harris, Marquez Callaway, they got to come up huge, and I mean huge. Tony Jones Jr., Sean Payton loves him. He moved on. The team moved on from Latavius Murray in the preseason because Tony Jones really showed them something. And I like the kid coming out of Notre Dame. He's got nice vision between the tackles. He reads blocks extremely well. He just doesn't have a whole lot of burst into the open field. He's not a game-breaking running back, but he can keep the chains moving if they get good blocking up front. So don't sleep on Tony Jones. And Ty Montgomery is not inactive tonight, despite that gruesome hand injury he suffered 2 weeks ago. We know that Ty can be an effective weapon too when used properly.
Well, Bob, we talk about some of those offensive issues. Ryan Ramczyk also out for the Saints tonight. The good news is Tron Armstead back at the left tackle spot. I did want to talk about this. You and I had a chance to talk to Drew Brees a little bit this week, and one of the questions you asked him was, how does the prep change from a Sunday game to a Thursday game, and then even more so on Thanksgiving when you have the pressure of millions of people watching you? What was Drew's response to that, and what do you think Trevor Siemian can take from that tonight? Because I don't think Siemian's played in a game of this magnitude his NFL career.
No, Siemian absolutely has not. Unless you remember, he was the first starter in Denver after Peyton Manning retired. So that 2016 season opener, he had to be feeling some kind of butterflies and pressure. But as far as a game on this kind of national stage, no, Siemian's not played anywhere close to this. And as far as what Drew's response was to that question, let's face reality. Drew did not give you, me, or Kyle a whole lot. As far as the questions that we asked, he stayed pretty right down the middle. But I did find his response to that question pretty interesting in this manner. I expected him to. I was hoping to hear something about how you approach your reps differently, how the team approaches their game plan, how they condense it, everything like that. Drew pointed out the off the field distractions, especially for a holiday game, family coming into town, national TV. Literally everybody is going to be watching. A Monday night or a Sunday night game. People might tune in or out or anything like that. But Thanksgiving football is very much a national tradition. So everybody is going to be tuning in. So it was Drew's response to handling those type of distractions. Were very interesting. And even though Siemian hasn't gone through that, most of the rest of this team has. This is the fourth straight year that New Orleans has played on either Thanksgiving night or Christmas Day. So the Saints coaching staff and the veteran leadership on that team, they know what to expect from this.
I was going to say, it's became a little bit of a holiday tradition for you, me, John, and Kyle to be working, hanging out together. So it's became something that we've got used to in our own households. But, let's talk about the Bills a little bit. This is a team that A lot of people still expect to be a team that could contend for the AFC despite having 2 losses in the last 3 weeks, and both those losses not great losses. You know, they got absolutely manhandled by Indianapolis last week, and then in a game that no one saw coming, lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars a few weeks ago. But this is a team with a super talented quarterback in Josh Allen. I had the privilege of being able to cover his career just a little bit at the collegiate level at Wyoming. I mean, super strong arm. You saw everything his senior year, why he was going to be a top draft pick. But they also have some really talented running backs, guys that are averaging about 5 yards per carry in Singletary and Moss. Now, Moss is not expected to be active, and I haven't checked the Buffalo inactive list before we got on. But what's the key to Buffalo's success offensively and a Saints defense that's really looking to bounce back this week?
Yeah, for sure. And we'll start there. The Saints defense has been reeling really the last 3 weeks. They got absolutely gashed against the run by Philadelphia last week. And then the previous 2 weeks, Ryan Tannehill and Matt Ryan pretty much had their way with them through the air. So I think for the Saints to bounce back defensively, first and foremost, you have to stop the run. Now Buffalo's a pass first team with Josh Allen, like you mentioned, and a very deep and talented core of receivers. But because you have to respect that as a defense, that running game of theirs, Devin Singletary, Josh Allen with his legs, what the Saints need to be very, very aware of. And even Matt Breida, if, the former 49er, if Zach Moss is indeed inactive, those guys have had a whole lot of room to operate underneath. They're really getting to the second level untouched because so many defenses are sitting back and respecting the deep, big play passing game that the Bills hit them with. So the Saints need to win their matchups up front with that, with their front four, front five, without necessarily having to stack the box. If you can eliminate that Buffalo running game, I know I just said that Buffalo's a pass first team, but you still need to take away balance from teams like that. So that way play action doesn't become an option, and you can sort of turn your pass rushers loose. And Buffalo's offensive line, while pretty talented, they have been susceptible to edge rushers, especially in their losses this year. So once you stop the run, you need to get to Allen very, very quickly. And the key to doing so is doing so on the edge, and forcing those receivers to really earn every inch of their pass routes by getting physical with them at the line of scrimmage.
Well, unfortunately for New Orleans, plenty of defensive linemen out today. Obviously, you have a guy like Peyton Turner who is on IR. Marcus Davenport inactive, one of your personal favorites from the season, and Tanoh Kpassagnon, he's inactive. So the Saints very banged up just about everywhere on the field. I think when I counted it, you're looking at somewhere around 14 starters from the beginning of the year that are out this week against Buffalo, and what really feels like a game that could determine how the rest of the Saints season goes. Because you and I here on the pregame show last week said the game against Philadelphia almost felt like a must-win. That must make this one feel even more so.
Certainly the tourniquet is wrapping a little bit tighter around the throat of the New Orleans Saints with each week. They're already, that loss last week, which dropped New Orleans to 5-5, literally put them in. I think it's like a 5-team heap, with 4 or 5 losses or 5 or 6 losses. Anyway, if they lose this game, I think they're in a whole world of trouble. Not mathematically eliminated by any stretch, but it makes next week's game against Dallas, that much more important. And again, in a loss to the Eagles last week, that's another conference loss too. People underestimate how big that is when you drop a game inside your conference. Now, I realize Buffalo's an AFC team, but you got to get back into the win column at some point to keep yourself, if not in the NFC South race, at least in a realistic wild card chase.
Well, the Saints are doing something pretty special at halftime today, and I alluded to us talking to Drew earlier this week. They're going to honor Drew today. Nothing like putting him in the Ring of Honor, which will happen later, the jersey retirement, which rightfully so. I think he should be the first in Saints history to have his number retired and eventually in the Canton and what have you. But they're going to be able to just bring him out to see the Who Dat Nation. And when we talked to him, he referenced he hasn't been in front of a full Superdome crowd in almost 2 years. Coming into the stadium today, he said it felt like game day again for him. What kind of reception do you think Drew's going to get, and how special is it for him to finally have this quote unquote real farewell with Saints fans?
And yeah, that was the part of our interview with Drew that he definitely showed by far the most excitement. You could tell he was really racked up, to come back to the Superdome, whether it was being honored or not. I mean, he loves the New Orleans area. There's no question about it. And I think the intensity, even though a lot of Who Dat Nation is kind of down on this Saints team right now, very frustrated with the 3-game losing streak. Drew Brees is a god within the Gulf Coast region, and I don't mean to use that term in a blasphemous way. I purely mean it on an earthly level, of course. But that's the way. That's how much Drew Brees is revered in New Orleans specifically, and especially the entire Gulf Coast region. And I think that the energy inside the Superdome is going to reflect that. And remember, a lot of these guys had played with Drew. If for only 1 year, in 2020. And Brees means a lot to these guys. These guys mean a lot to Brees. So there's something to be said for that kind of intensity. And hopefully the Saints can come out strong, and keep that Superdome crowd into it, to carry it through the halftime celebration and into the second half.
Well, to kind of piggyback off that point, I've said for years, if Drew ever decided to run for mayor of New Orleans or governor of Louisiana, I think he'd win by a landslide, because he doesn't mean so much to those people, whether you're a football fan or not. Just what he's done in that community, and even still, him and Deuce McAllister teaming up to give back to some charities this week. He's still so heavily involved in New Orleans, and that this part of the world definitely has his heart. But let's go ahead and talk about some predictions here. I don't want to keep everybody too long, because I know that I got to get seconds and thirds. I know you got to get second and thirds. Everybody at home wants to spend that time with the family. We appreciate you guys taking some time out of just what's a crucial family day for everybody, just to hear us talk about Saints football. It means the world to us. But Bob, we talked about how to shut down Buffalo. We've talked about the Saints' struggles. We talked about all the injuries that New Orleans has. What's your score predictions, and can New Orleans come out victorious in this game? And if they do, how do they do it?
Boy, I tell you, I think New Orleans can come out victorious, and they're going to have to get weird and ugly on offense. They're going to have to manufacture points in weird ways, and they're going to have to really beat Buffalo up in the trenches. Buffalo is, kind of thin at defensive tackle, and they don't rush the passer real well. So that sort of plays into the Saints' hands. As long as the offensive linemen can win their battles up front, New Orleans needs to move the ball. And once again, and we say it week after week after week after week, the Saints cannot lose on early downs. And by that, we mean no penalties, no miscues, no negative plays. If they do that, I actually think that they can move the ball against Buffalo, and they need to put points on the board early. You cannot get in a shootout with Josh Allen and those receivers. Defensively, as long as the offense can put a few points on the board early, control the football, I think this Saints defense is going to come out really ratcheted up to stop the run. I think that they could put pressure on Allen, which is going to be absolutely crucial. The Saints secondary, after a few down weeks in a row, they're going to be up for the challenge of the Bills receiving core. If the Saints win this game, it's going to be pretty low scoring, in the low 20s, maybe even teens. If that's the kind of game that Sean Payton is wanting to play. My heart says that New Orleans is going to come out with an intense effort, but the prognosticator in me can see Buffalo coming out of here with a 30-20 victory.
I said it on a Bills podcast earlier this week, Bob. I said, for the Saints to win, this is going to have to be like a 20-17 game, kind of to your point. It's going to be ugly. It's not going to be that high-scoring octane Saints offense that so many are used to on national TV. And the Bills certainly have an offense that could be high octane and put plenty of points up on the board. The Saints defense is going to have to come up huge today. And, Drew told us as well that this is two of the most consistent defenses in football, despite their lack of successes over the last few weeks. So you could very well see it go one way or the other. New Orleans has to start fast, man. They're still one of two, or the only team in the league that has not scored on their opening drive, a touchdown that is. The Saints have to start fast. Obviously, the odds are not in their favor with the amount of injuries that they have. You highlighted Deontay Harris at the beginning, saying he has to come up big. I'm looking towards a guy like Traquan Smith, who's built some chemistry over the last few weeks with Simeon. Statistically, he's been Simeon's favorite target since he took over as the starting quarterback. I'm looking at a guy like Smith to come up and have a big game for New Orleans. And like he said, they're going to have to get a little weird offensively because you don't have your usual starting running backs. You don't have your starting tight end. Those are two positions that run those classic Sean Payton screens that you love so much. So how are you going to get creative and find ways to get the ball in guys' hands? And you're without another starting offensive lineman. I don't know how many games the Saints have actually had all 5 starting offensive linemen.
I believe it's just 1.
So the Saints going to have to get creative. Sean Payton's going to have to show and prove to the world again why he deserves to be in the Coach of the Year conversation with all the adversity the Saints have had this year. But I'm kind of with you, Bob. As much as I'd like to say, well, New Orleans is going to come out here victorious, I think they will if it stays about 20 points somewhere in there. But I see the Bills being able to put up some points on the Saints. So I'll actually think that the Bills are going to come out of here like 27 to 20. And that they'll just come out and just do just enough to squeak by New Orleans. But it's going to be a lively Superdome crowd. We have to bring this fact in there. The Saints are undefeated on Thanksgiving. They're undefeated on Christmas. So maybe some holiday luck, some holiday festivities will give the Saints exactly what they need to kind of right the ship here as they return to health. Bob, do you have anything for everyone before we go, and where can they follow you online?
Oh, folks, again, thank you for tuning into our pregame. Hopefully, and I know that there's some going to be exciting things going on in the Superdome, but hopefully you'll have a few minutes to join Brendan and I back for our live halftime reactions and analysis. And again, I hope everybody is having and continues to have a happy Thanksgiving. You can follow me personally on Facebook, Bob Rose, or over on Twitter at BobbyR2613. And as always, you can follow all of us and all of our works at the Saints News Network or at Saints News over on Twitter and SI.com, the New Orleans Saints team channel.
And for myself, you can follow me over on Twitter and Instagram at BT Boylan. And like Bob said, hit us up on the Saints News Network, SI.com/NFL/Saints. And with a little bit of time before we get to actual kickoff, head over to social media. Go to Saints News on Twitter. Bob and Kyle did a great interview with the one, the only Deuce McAllister earlier today. So go check that out if you have a little bit of time between the kickoff and dessert. Go give that a watch. It's only about 15 minutes, but they did a great job. And, Deuce is a guy who loves New Orleans, loves the Saints, and he'll be on the call for the radio tonight. Drew Brees will be on the call, making his NFL color analyst debut on NBC. Though they're going to be honoring him at halftime, like Bob said, we hope that you join us for the halftime show. Bob, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Thanksgiving. We'll see you in a couple hours, my friend.
Who dat? You got it.